outliner.
Black outliner is for outlining. Turbo black is like a somewhere between a tribal black and a black outliner. I like tribal black to shade with, like large patches.
Yeah,
But
this is mostly gonna be just writing.
so I would go liner for sure. Yeah. And then if you have any areas where you're gonna use like that black, that if you're gonna color her hair in black,
Hacker hair, yeah.
yeah, use that tribal.
That's what I did with yours. I lined it and then colored it with tribal.
Hey, everybody. So we're in a different setting today. We're in my room again at my shop. And Dusty is getting tattooed by Medusa. And he lives in Ohio. She lives in Oregon. So they're here in Florida. So yeah, we decided to do the episode today while they're doing tattoo swapsies. Dusty just tattooed a cute little pair of heart-shaped sunglasses. And now Medusa's tattooing. At least I didn't kill Selena.
Very on brand for me.
So oh yeah, we gotta put this down under you.
Oh, yeah.
So
I got so comfy. Like,
right.
like the French girl.
So Medusa asked me beforehand, like, hey, do you have a topic? And I didn't. And she said, well, I'm either gonna go into balls deep into gratitude or what was the other one?
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Both valid, valuable, super wonderful, beautiful topics to go into today. We might even try both of them. Starting with gratitude though, because like I feel like this tattoo is kind of a gratitude tattoo. At least I didn't kill Selena was the thing that you say when you're having a bad day, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
At least I'm not the worst person on earth.
Yeah.
Like you can, have a really shitty day and really hate yourself, but you're not the person that shot and killed the iconic Selena. So you got that going for you, and I'd say that's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a crime of jealousy. So like if you ain't doing shit like that, you all right. Do your best. And like it's weird because like the universe has been bringing me a lot of my insecurities to the surface lately. And I'm like, and when I say the universe, I just mean like trials and tribulations that be coming my way. And like the thing is, you just have to remember, like, at least I didn't kill Selena. But like also one of the things I came to recently was like, no man, like I know my intentions. I know I'm doing my best to be my best. And if I know I'm fucking doing that and somebody doesn't jive with that, or somebody gets jealous of that and tries to kill me or tries to take me out or tries to fucking whatever, like it makes me realize, oh, well, I'm learning the lesson of I'm actually a quality human and I should see my value in my work rather than I should think that I'm not a quality human, which ties into the imposter syndrome, right? So like I did this fucking surf event locally that was awesome, the Villain 6th annual surf contest that they do on the beach over in Satellite Beach. It's really fucking cool. They do vendors and stuff, and we had a vendor booth there. And I was feeling real weird and insecure a lot of the day. And then when I by the time we got to leave and I felt the love from everyone around me, and I was like, oh shit, man, like why am I feeling this imposter-y way? And that's been coming up a lot of imposter syndrome. And I didn't even realize it because I've been running into being kind of not present, so to speak. And that's been kind of weird. So weird. I've been talking to the screen and I just realized you're next to me. Like I'm so used to like looking at the screen for you guys. It's odd. Yeah, like what's going on? And like there's a dude that was in the waiting room and now he's gone. And I didn't get to admit him in, but I was going to, and then he's gone. So if you are that man, please come back if you have something to say. But yeah, like the imposter syndrome shit, that's been hitting me in really weird ways. Like, you should shave.
Shave me up.
Yeah, you want to shake in this position?
So yeah, the imposter syndrome is like a weird thing that has been hitting me a lot. A lot. And like I think I'm in a good spot as a human because I can realize that it's hitting me a lot right now because it's supposed to teach me something. And it's funny because me and Brittany were talking about this a little bit outside, and you were like, I was like, I'm waiting on the message, and Dusty was like, well, what's the message? I'm like, I don't know, I'm waiting on the message. But like, I really think the message is like, yo, you're actually quite a good quality human. And like, you should probably not beat yourself up so much.
Thanks.
You know, like.
Oh, you were talking about you.
Same. You know, but like seriously, I feel like the imposter syndrome is huge in all of us, and it's like stupid to be there. How does it show up for you, Medusa? Since it's your topic.
Does it show
Oh,
up?
I was
using
not
Robbie
prepared to
first?
actually answer that question. Don't talk about everybody else's imposter syndrome. Now I get real here. It shows up, like, in the anxiety I'm having right now. In this moment, being in this tattoo studio, tattooing in this chair, tattooing you and everything happening. While there's a thing right there that's showing other people what I'm doing, and I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. And I also said that I was afraid of this when we spoke about this previously.
You did say this, yeah.
Yeah.
And I said,
So-
me and Dusty both said, don't worry about it. But I think that's funny and super cool, and like that's like a big like pat on the back, like the fact that being in this shop tattooing you, like that makes you anxious. Like, thanks, man.
That's-
You know, like
That's imposter syndrome for me, though, that somebody's that excited about tattooing me.
right.
Or getting tattooed by me. Nobody should want to tattoo by me, or to get tattooed. Take two. Nobody should want to tattoo me, because I do not sit well for tattoo.
Oh,
About to find out.
But I love that, like, that's probably his imposter syndrome, because he'll probably sit like a champ, especially like knowing he's on camera, you know, like.
Man.
It's actually a science experiment they did, and these are very, very specific factual terms. You know, it's a science experiment they did
Yeah.
about atoms and shit. It's textbook written just like this. That things be acting differently when motherfuckers be watching.
Okay.
So like they observed like molecules and atoms and shit. And then like they stopped observing them. But like notice where they were able to like capture their patterns,
Okay, yeah.
right? But like
that's-
should be acting different when it's being viewed. So your molecules and your atoms are going to naturally act differently when they're being viewed as when they're not being viewed.
Okay.
So like that makes a big difference in like why we feel a certain way. And we were talking about this on the way to the Surf Fest on Saturday. How like it just feels weird how we're not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know, and then we saw that shirt on that one chick that said not for everyone, or I'm not for everyone.
Yeah.
And like, but like I think on a molecular level, it actually breaks down to our atoms act differently when they're being observed. That's the word I was looking for, which is not being observed. And like there's actually scientific proof and studies based around this. So like it's really interesting to think about like when we're being observed, you know, and then being acknowledged while we're being observed, you know, it's just a really weird collection of molecules going crazy. Like I was at this one thing in Miami a little bit ago, and the dude said, we're just what the fuck was the word he used? And we're just like, now I can't remember. But he said soup. What is serotonin? Yeah.
Chemicals?
Yeah, we're
molecules?
chemical soup. Our brain is just chemical soup.
Okay.
Like when you think about it, our brain is just chemicals. It's just everything is all just chemicals being held together. So like the way these things all act naturally is the way we're going to act naturally. So I think imposter syndrome comes from being observed, because we're being observed and we're not naturally used to being observed.
Yeah. Remember before social media?
Yeah,
That was crazy.
pager time. Yeah, and you like,
You weren't constantly being observed,
yeah, oh, and you're constantly being observed even when you're not looking.
which is weird because we subject ourselves to being observed. It's
Because
like,
it
oh,
gives, it
here's
gives
my
the
social
serotonin.
media,
Yeah,
check me out, but then equally like.
don't look at me.
The amount of people that like, I post tattoos I do in cats versus the people that are always like. Kind of portraying a character or like, oh, this, presenting a different life than maybe what's not really there because they're being observed.
Right,
But they want to be observed, so they present this false life to be observed, and then they're like, oh, don't observe me. It's a weird
yeah,
head spin circle.
yeah, dude, totally, and it's like, you, like, there's days where you're like, oh, I love being observed, and there's times when you're like, oh, I hate this. And we do it to ourselves, and it's such a weird, it's a weird, it is and it isn't at the same time thing, like,
No, I get that.
but like, that's all of life. It always is and it isn't, and that's fucking annoying sometimes.
It do be.
But like yesterday when I went to the surf fest and it got rained out, I talked to this one DJ that was there. He was rad, dude. Well, the DJ that was there, like,
Yeah.
doing the music and stuff. Dude, we talked for a while. I lost my train of thought. It isn't. We were talking about. Shh. I'll find her again. But yeah, talked a lot about life. I can't remember where I was going with that.
I'm having a difficult time placing the stencil and like.
What do you
without,
mean?
like going straight up into the crotch. I was like, it's on camera. So,
She's acting differently because she's being observed.
Observe, yes, she's acting like terrified and
It's like the principal watching the tattoo.
I know. dude, like when I was on Ink Master, fucking, I remember one specific moment, Oliver Peck comes around watching me while I'm tattooing. And I was doing this like weird scribbly thing with my hand where like, was it really tattooing? And I was trying to figure out how to do what I was doing, and I was being watched by one of the judges, and like, he's like, what are you doing over there? And I'm like, you guys make me nervous. He's like, why? So yeah, it's funny, like, yeah, we act different as fuck when we're observed, and we're in an environment that we deem higher pressure. I've been like, one of the first conventions I went to after Ink Master, I was in a machine company's booth, and I was like, I didn't feel like I deserved to be there. And like Russ Abbott was in the booth also, and like Gunner was right next to us. I'm like, I went up to Russ Abbott and I introduced myself, and he's like, I know who you are, and I was like, oh. So like that fucking ruined my day. Like, why did that ruin my day? Like, dude, like that whole convention, I was just so in my head, and this was 2014, 2015-ish. So like I was really in my head for like no reason. Like people were being really nice to me, but I was super stressed out about it and fucking killed me for a little bit. Like that convention was so hard for me to do.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid looking back on it now, like, but that was where I was at that moment, and that was a difficult place for me to be in those moments. So yeah, but I think we all kind of have those moments, like where you feel like the principal's watching.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking weird.
all right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say, I think I need to make this smaller.
Okay. But why are you
No
sorry?
worries, doggy. Man, wow.
I could stand on
So-
camera with my thigh out.
Just in case everybody knows or didn't know, Medusa just made a stencil that was a little too big. Who the fuck has ever done that? Like, you must be trash.
Not me.
Fired.
Right, like, no, it's cool though. I always feel like a failure when I have to go smaller because like I just want to go bigger. But other than that, yeah.
If we could go bigger, I would just be, I could. Go bigger, I just need to like shade you a bit more. And it'd be. Much closer up in there.
Do whatever you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on you, doggy. Where's your comfort size on that tattoo?
I'm gonna go a little bit smaller for time's sake, and I think it'll still hold all the details.
Beautiful. So, oh, Donna said she's down to tattoo you.
Fuck yeah.
And I just got a picture of Zen reading my books.
So learned.
I love it. My learned little man Zen, Sir Yidelman Yidelson.
All right, well, she's doing that.
Yeah.
Back at it here. It's been winter in Ohio and I don't get to wear a lot of jorts, so
Yeah.
I may as well ham it up on camera here.
And I'm constantly in shorts. It makes me a happy lady. You know, I feel like when it is cold out, because I have the metal leg, I get the ability to only have one cold leg. So it makes my life a little bit easier. I like it. It's nice. So yeah, how are you? How are you feeling now? Talking about feelings. About get ready tattooed.
I feel good because between when I came here and when I tattooed Medusa was 4 days, and I think that's the longest I've gone without tattooing in like 2 or 3 years. So when I started the first line, I pulled like a lot of anxiety was removed of just like, I don't know, that like
Needing the tattoo.
like jitteriness of like, oh man, I haven't worked in a while, but also just that like fear of like, I forgot how to tattoo because I didn't tattoo for 4 days after tattooing for like 8,000 days straight.
Yeah.
Immediately removed when I pulled the first big line and it looked good. I was like, okay, cool, I remember how to tattoo. So there was a little bit of jitteriness and anxiety there, but I did it and we did cool shit in the past 3 days. So
Right.
it was never like the forefront of my mind, like where the full corner of tattooing, but getting to do it brought a big sense of normalcy back.
I totally
That
know
I'm
that
pretty
feeling.
stoked on.
I know that feeling 100%. I used to not be able to be away from the shop like
Yeah.
longer than 3 days, you know, like it was always, I always had to.
I feel more comfortable because I haven't been to my shop since Thursday,
Mhm.
but even just being here made me feel more comfortable because like I went up to the girl that she's tattooing out there and I was like asking her about her tattoo and looking at the stencil and just like it felt like I'm at work again. You know,
Right,
if I'm not at
right.
my shop. I'm like, okay, this is a lot of weird tension eased
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
of just like that jitteriness of like, well, if I'm not at work, what am I doing? And I run the social media for my shop, so watching all of my friends back home in Ohio tattoo and tag us in stories, and I'm seeing them like, oh, Aura just did this awesome thing, Josh just did this cool design, whatever. Had me very jumpy for like, well, they're fucking tattooing, why don't I get to?
Yeah.
So I got 2 today, I got 2 lined up tomorrow, I got like 4 lined up Wednesday, so it's back to good.
Right. You're just,
I'm in a much more comfortable headspace now.
yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I have a little bit of anxiety sitting around sometimes. So like,
Which is wild because you do so much.
so do you.
I do.
Well,
You're not wrong. But if
Right.
I'm not holding a machine, it just feels different.
like yesterday, you know, I went to the surf fest at, you know, I got there at 9:30 and then fucking actually no, I'm gonna kill this light since we ain't tatting yet. I got there at 9:30 and fucking by 11:30 I was like, all right, it's rained a lot. I'm out of here. And then we sat around and watched TV all day and like I enjoy sitting around, but at some point in time I get a little anxious. And like, and then if you're anxious sitting around,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up on that too.
I
So-
calmed it pretty good. I don't know if you noticed. Robbie and Donna ordered me pizza and we ate pizza. And I inhaled 2 New York sized slices in like 3 minutes flat so that I could get my iPad back out and go back to designing. So I was like, okay, this is holding it at bay.
Right. And like I felt bad, like part of my anxiety is, oh man, I'm making this guy sit around doing nothing when he's here on vacation. When like
It was cold and rainy and I needed
It
a
was-
lazy day. I
it
know
was
if it
weird.
hadn't been gross, we could have gone out and
right,
even just nature, like I walked your neighborhood for like
Right.
30 minutes today and just walking 2 miles. I was like, okay, I feel
nice way.
I got sun. I also saw you have lakes that just have signs that are like, oh yeah, look out for alligators.
Yep.
And that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's real life.
I didn't see any alligators, which is cool, but
I haven't seen any alligators in those lakes, but Donna met a neighbor that has seen alligators in those lakes.
yeah, just a
So,
possibility. Most lakes in Ohio by my house don't really have alligators in them, so. Just the fact that they're like, there's enough of a possibility that we needed to put up a sign. That was a whole, let's talk about feelings. I was feeling scared. They move quick and
They do. So speaking of Florida alligator stuff, the
yeah,
story that Donna told me, and I told you in the car the other night. So I heard a story about there was a dude running around robbing people in an area local to here, and he jumped in a lake to hide from the police, and the police heard him getting chomped on. So it can happen. There are big ass gators in some of our lakes. I have not seen any, but like when I moved out of Florida, I was weirded out that there wasn't gators. Cause I was like, oh,
that's an odd emotion to feel.
Right, I'm
Oh,
like,
I'm a gator.
I'm like, wait a second, you got a lake there, y'all got gators? And they'd be like, what would they do when it's cold? And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it gets cold here, I'm from Florida, so I don't know things. Like seriously, until I started traveling away from Florida, I didn't realize like that like there was places that had like cold
Just have
weather and shit,
winter.
like yeah, seasons like
And a lack of gators.
right, like dude, first
Severe lack of gators.
dude, a severe lack of gators. Like when I went to Philly to do the convention the first time, I brought
Gator proof suit, I get it.
It's called gator mail.
right? It's
Yeah.
gator mail. I brought my cold jacket for Florida, which then I realized was like basically a mildly graduated windbreaker. So you know, it was very cold in Philly for me the first time I went there. Very cold for me. So yeah.
One time Jessica told me a story about she used to be like an RA at OU when she went there. And there was like a kid from Texas that brought like his t-shirts and his jeans because he's from Texas, and they had like a 6-inch blizzard kind of whatever. And he's like, oh, what do we do? And she's like, do you have a coat or a jacket? And he's like, no, we don't have those. So we had to like take this random ass Texas kid to Walmart to like get him a coat and winter clothes, because he's just like, I didn't know winter was a thing. I thought it was just summer and slightly less Santa Claus summer.
Thank you for that fucking clarification, because I feel a little weird sometimes. I don't know these.
It's
Yeah,
it's like that.
it'd be like that sometimes, dude. It'd be like that. So yeah, fucking wild. Yeah, so I also didn't know that winter shoes were like a thing, you know, wet shoes, winter pants,
Mhm.
snow pants. I didn't realize that.
Get it?
How's she look?
Oh, man, there's the whole wall here behind me.
I mean, you could look in the camera and get your vision there. Yeah.
It's like.
Ooh,
a
yeah.
few
Flexing.
Yeah. Still tattoos. You got this. I believe in you.
You all right, buddy?
I can do this.
You need a high five? Do you need a hug? Do you need a cry? Do you need a punch? What do you need?
I'm gonna take a sip of water and then. Yeah.
Water, you're an animal.
Ready when you are.
Water.
Ooh, thanks for that. I've got my water.
You'll know where to find me.
So when I was in the hospital, when the nurses would leave, they'd be like, I'll be back. I'll be like, I'll be here. And that was like my yuckety dad joke every time. And like I would giggle my dick off. I was really proud of it every time. Ah. That was a good sip of water, speaking about feelings.
Yeah, that was
Hydrate yourself.
a
before you
beautiful
go.
tangent from imposter syndrome to not knowing about winter. We tend to
Incredible
tangent.
segue.
I loved it. It feels normal to me. What's that?
Are either of these lights going back on or? if you-
We turned them off for the moment because You weren't tattooed one?
Cause I already glow so much.
Would you like this one as well?
I think just this one's fine.
And look, if I tilt my head down, it's like a little halo.
Oh my
Dusty's
God.
heart-shaped halo.
A heart-shaped halo.
That works.
You are heavenly, Dusty.
See, I'll just halo. Oh, you have two halos, so I can cover this one. And you have the circular one. Actually, hold on, I'm gonna take a picture of this.
Dusty, one real quick thing.
Yes.
Because consent always matters, do I have your consent again?
Whenever.
Thing.
I know.
Take a moment where I'm actually like, the only time you'll ever catch me being serious is when I'm all like, I'm telling you right now, I respect your body and you, and then we'll bullshit.
I just love how you like turned it on and you got real about some shit. And then you're like, okay, cool, here we go.
That is something that I am very overboard on as well, because we're talking about feelings. When it's people's first tattoo, like I'm too much of a people pleaser to be a tattoo artist. And
I
too
get that.
empathetic that like, if it's your first tattoo, I'm like, okay, see this one line, we're gonna start with this line, and then I'm gonna stop. And you tell me how it feels, you tell me anything you need to tell me, you tell me when you're ready, if it takes 30 seconds, if it takes 5 minutes, whatever, like I'm on your time, you tell me. And I'll do the first line, and 99 out of every 100 first tattoos I do, they're just kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, are you sure? Did it hurt? Are you good? And they'll be like, yeah, I'm fine. And I thought it was gonna be like a 10, it's a 5. And I'm like, okay, but like you tell me when you're ready. Yes, fucking tattoo me, okay?
You guys just tell me a little bit about that, because I'm just like, all right, blah, blah.
Oh, let's think if someone shows up and they're like the homies that I've tattooed
Right.
multiple times, I'm just like, you ready?
Yeah, my level of asking if I have their consent is like, so you ready for me to ruin your life?
Yeah.
Because like blackouts, I've been doing a lot of those lately, and they always leave shaking. So like,
Robbie's idea of consent and tattoos, he hits you over the head with a sock full of oranges and just tattoos you.
for real, man, I'm such a fucking.
He locks the deadbolt. He's like,
I'm like, you signed up for this, motherfucker. I ain't quitting now.
hey Siri, play Goodbye Horses.
Oh,
Joke's on you.
On it. Sorry. I couldn't find goodbye horses in your name.
Oh, you said it. All right, thanks, Siri. Goodbye. I don't need anything from you, Siri. Go away. So yeah, we have the A word over here.
Yeah, that's why I said the S word.
Yeah, but we're on a good old Macintosh.
Should have said the G word.
Google. Good old Google. How you feeling? You okay? Do you need to stop?
That's pretty chill. So let's
Where's
talk,
my sack of oranges?
let's talk about so this sweet juice box inside my bag here with things dumb bitch juice on it.
Yes.
Notice how that line and that line are much thicker
Yes.
than that line.
Uh-huh.
That was done by Beckett, Aisle 9. That was her second tattoo ever.
Okay.
I've got Trusty's second, I've got the Bill's third, I've got Kayla's third. Like I've got a lot of apprentice tattoos on my legs. I like to help out friends.
Yeah, I dig it.
When she did that first line, or no, I'm sorry, it got lighter from there. Those first two lines had to be cleaned up because when she started the first one. Hold on, can you stop tapping me for 1 second? I didn't want to fuck you up when I tell this story. She like started with that line, and I immediately like, and she's like, what? And I'm like, nothing, you're good. And where I fucked up, it was funny, and it was like hazing light. But where I fucked up is she was so in her head about those two that she had to fix up. That the whole rest of it is like real light. It's healed out better now, but it was super light because she was so afraid of hurting me after that. That she was just like, but at the end, I was like, yeah, these two are wonky because that's where you started and whatever. So she's like, you know what? Okay. good. And I just like, fuck, I did this to myself.
Yeah, you definitely did. Yeah, see, I have a different story, similar reaction.
Yeah,
Keep going.
yeah, you're good. Sorry, thank you. I just didn't want to scream one. We're tattooing it.
Okay,
You out?
Thank you.
So Donna tattooed "It's a Boy" on me.
Yeah, the heart.
It's a blue heart, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm just sitting here dicking around. I totally forgot I'm about to sit down and get a tattoo. So I'm sitting on my chair, swinging my legs. All of a sudden, she fucking puts pedal to the metal, and I'm like, holy!
It was a legit holy.
Dude, it was a legit holy fuck. And she's like, what? Like, I jumped and fuck. Oh, dude, it was so bad. And I was like, I am so sorry. Oh, fuck. That was bad. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting anything. So, yeah, that was similar but different. Good thing about Donna is she seems to have more confidence than she should as a young
Yeah,
tatter tot.
tatter tot.
So she just fucking dips and rips like a fucking OG tack on.
So
So-
help me with this.
Yes,
because
holler.
I've wondered myself. I know tatter tot is kind of the, once you're holding the machine, it's the entry level. Is Tatty Bratty like the next step up, or is Tatty Bratty more of a sass thing?
I think Tatty Bratty is more of a sass thing if
Okay.
we're going on Robbie's, you know.
Cause I feel like a
definition
Tatty
for it.
Bratty, but I didn't know if it was like, oh, you passed Tatty Bratty, or if it's just a whole
I
subculture.
think Tatty Bratty is just like, what you tell me to do, rather than fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Okay,
But it's the same energy.
okay.
So it's basically OG Tat Lord, just in a sassy get up.
But I usually just politely do what asked, so I guess I'm in a whole different fucking.
Right. I don't know, man. I think
Agreeable tat lord,
we're multifaceted beings. Agreeable Tat Lord. I like that. But-
linemanship jockey,
But you have your lines in the sand, and we all have our lines in the sand.
yeah.
And that's where like it's, I kind of enjoy seeing where people stop people pleasing.
Right now there's lines in my leg.
Yeah. Ooh. Let's see how Medusa's doing.
About done?
Almost.
That'll be $900.
Absolutely. Calm down, man. You're doing the same thing that I did when Oliver was over my shoulder. But like, you're not being judged. Like, you ain't got everybody on TV seeing what a loser you are.
Just everybody on the
It's just
internet,
thing, you know?
a bunch of tat lords and lordesses.
Available for replay.
I mean, you want me to pick up the camera and do a little follow along? No, I'm sorry. Calm down.
Pulling that on.
I know, you're not.
Like, oh.
Remember that hazing light that you were talking about? I need to stop. It's like,
No, I like hazing guys. You knew where to draw the line.
yeah. No, I really want to see you do a good job, and I know you will. And honestly, your work is clean, dog. So don't even stress.
Yeah.
No
That really
worries,
means
dude.
so much to
Serious,
me.
dog. Like,
An insane amount of, I mean, not insane, probably normal, I don't know, I'm
Yeah.
not another person to compare myself to.
dude, I feel ya.
But the amount of imposter syndrome where constantly, every time something like really cool happens, like this right now. Instead of being able to allow myself to celebrate, I just regularly,
Do you wonder what's next?
I wonder when the next book's gonna drop
Yep.
and when the rain cloud's gonna start coming towards my
Yep.
parade.
Yeah,
And I become hesitant to congratulate myself and to celebrate even like the small little victories.
yeah.
Because I'm just like, do I want to jinx myself? Am I like, and I don't even know. Like, you can jinx yourself. Well, I don't even know if superstitions are true.
Right, right. And
I
I,
mean, that's a. Like, I think there's some superstitions that are true, but I think what Robbie was saying earlier about the cells and the amoeba, like when they're observed, they act different. You can 100% observe yourself into acting different.
yeah,
And when it's the whole thing that, you know, that internet adage that everybody uses for whatever, you don't notice blue cars until you're thinking about blue cars, which it's corny, but it's true that
Totally.
if you're thinking, oh man, I'm fucking stressed, I don't want to fuck this up, I'm jinxing myself, you'll jinx yourself. You know, the people tell them enough, like, are you okay? You look kind of rough, you sound kind of sick. that will get sick because they're so convinced that they're sick that their body just lets it win.
Yeah,
You know, so you just have to remind yourself positive affirmations.
well, yeah, and I feel like you
I'm
can't,
gonna knock this tat out of the park, and even if you have a little goofy line here or a spot there, we'll go in and fix it.
that's my favorite way to do tattoos, instead of holding myself under a microscope and having so much pressure. I feel like you can jinx yourself by willing it into submission. Not really jinxing yourself, but like, just like putting it out there to have it come back to you.
There was one line on hers that I was like, that's not my favorite line, and I was like, I'm fucking throwing it in black, you give a fuck.
I just now realized that the lines I'm doing are getting covered up with black. I don't need to like fucking freak out over these minor
Yeah.
details.
Well, I went through a period of my career where I cut my price in half for 10 people that were gonna do large projects.
Yeah,
And I made a verbal agreement with them, like, you got $100 an hour for 4 hours every 6 weeks for 5 sessions. So like, it was a way for me to get a decent amount of living wage, right?
yeah,
And discount myself a lot, but give myself a lot of freedom to learn. And like, I had gone home from McMaster before this, and I was like real down about myself, lots of imposter syndrome there. Instead of celebrating the win of doing something cool, I was like, oh, I'm a fucking loser because I didn't win. And so like doing this was a way to like get some big pieces out and just like enjoy myself doing tattoos. And what it turned into was a way to teach myself how I can tattoo and fucking relax.
yeah.
Because I was doing large scale, right? So like I could do a whole outline of the back piece in light fucking grays. And then, you know, in 6 weeks, we're gonna come back and maybe we can throw some, you know, shading in there, or like, and
Yeah.
disappear these lines. And by, you know, session number 5 or 6, because a lot of them went over 5 sessions. Like by the time we get to the 6th or 7th session, maybe I'll be ready to drop some fucking like, you know, bold lines on this thing that I didn't have to commit to session 1. And so that comes back around to what you were saying, Medusa. Like it made me realize that I can tattoo in a way that's kind of like low pressure, rather than the way that I used to tattoo, which was very high pressure on myself. And that's not to say that I still don't get in my feels about like, oh, I'm scared because this is a tough tattoo, or this is a difficult cover up, or, you know, realism or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But like, I know that I have a way that I work that makes sense, where I don't have to commit until I have to. You know, like almost everything I do, I light line, or I call speed line, or quick line, or like notes, just like or sketch lines, rather than like holding shit right from the get.
I see some of your red movement videos and stuff about that, and that actually like taught me a lot. I
Thank
learned a lot from you.
Oh, dude,
And,
thanks,
like, that one
man.
where you did the blast over with the hand and
Yes.
the arrow. That one taught me so fucking much,
Dude, thank
by
you.
the way. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you.
Right.
I appreciate that.
I
That
do
was a
that a
game
lot
changer.
You're welcome.
with like the more illustrative, like symboly vibes stuff.
Mhm. Right,
Like
right.
I'll line the whole thing with a type 3 and then go back and be like, okay, I want to do bolder lines. Which ones do I want to take?
Exactly.
My whole stencil's here now. I can wipe, I can
Yeah.
paint, I can whatever. And there's been times that I'll do something like the whole hand size tattoo with a type 3, blast over the border of it, with like a flower, and blast over the
Right.
border with like a 7. And be like, wow, that's way cooler. And then I'm like, you know what? Now some of the insides look thin. I'm gonna hit a few of those with a 7. Now the outside looks a little too thin. I'm gonna blast over it with an 11. And
Right,
I like made multiple passes, but my whole thing was mapped out. I'm like, okay, now I'm happy with it.
right.
But the amount of shit that I go into with very minimal to no game plan anymore, I'm just like, we're gonna fucking, here's my stencil, we're gonna
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah, and like I said, this was a way for me to get more large scale work in my portfolio, but it really honestly taught me the method that I have been craving ever since I was sitting with Clean one night at Ink Master, and he was like, well, my method of tattooing is this. And I was like, I don't have a fucking method. I don't know what I'm doing.
I just show up for the best, that's my
Right.
method.
And that's the thing, and what I feel like happened to me will happen to you at some point, where you realize, oh fuck, I had a method this whole time. I just didn't realize it because I was just like intuitively tattooing,
Yeah,
which is how I love to teach people. Like, it's all about intuition, man. And if you find the answers, I mean, you'll find the answers if you ask for them. So just
yeah,
start the tattoo, do what you know, and even if that's a quick 3-line around the whole bitch, that'll buy you 15 minutes for an answer or two to come.
and that is a method to not have
Right,
a method. I
right.
had some people that, the first guy that I ever had to show me watercolor, when watercolor became popular a few years ago, was like, my brain doesn't wrap around it, and he like builds every splash individually in Photoshop with vector layers and stuff.
Really?
And plans it. And like, I hadn't even started stenciling the tattoo itself on the person, and it was already 2 hours deep. And I was like, this is not for me. My brain doesn't work that way. Equally, I watched Joey Brenner take a fucking Sharpie and literally just go sideways with it and smudge and then wipe it. And he's like, oh, like watercolor, and then he just tattooed it on. The same way I watched you do that fucking Aurora Borealis on that collab piece we did with
Yeah,
that thing.
yeah,
I just fucking smattered on to go, and I was like, that appeals way more to my chaos brain. But that
Right.
is a method,
it is a method, right?
and even like I'm gonna get this on here and then figure it out. Maybe not always the best method, but it is a method.
Right. Dude, the one apprentice that I had that I was making the tattoo videos with, we would always say it'll talk to you. Cause like when I was teaching him, I was like, when I'm tattooing, like I don't always know. So the answer comes and he's like, it'll talk to you. And then he explained to me how like his I think father-in-law says that to him when they're like building shit or something like
Yeah.
that. So like no matter where you're at, if you're in a project and that project requires figuring something out, it'll talk to you.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it always does.
I was talking with her when I did the glasses tattoo on her today, that I love putting white highlights and trad stuff. And I know some people think it's a faux pas
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right. I get it.
I'll put some bold fucking white
Yeah.
highlights on that thing. I'll leave open skin, and then on the very cusp of it,
Right.
9 round, give it a bold white line. But there have been times where I've done it where people look and they're like, oh, that's cool. And I'll leave it. And there's been times where people look at it and they're like, that white line is amazing. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna spend 15 more minutes.
Yep, doing
Last-
this. Yeah.
Fuck out. Every open skin spot on this tattoo just got a white line. And like you said, it'll talk to you. A lot of times the client will talk to you. Oh, I love the way you did this.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna do
yeah.
more of that.
I-
There's been times where I've stipple shaded a whole tattoo because I fuck with stipple shading.
Right.
And they look at it and they're like, what are we gonna like? Is there gonna be like solids in it? And I'm like, okay, cool. Now we're gonna have to go over this and gray wash it or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, that was not my plan, but I totally told the client, like, yeah, of course, that's kind of at the end once we get the dots in. I just roll it like, they'll talk to you too.
Right, right. See,
But allowing yourself that flexibility like you do leaves you open to just flow with it so much more versus the people that do sit there in Photoshop and Illustrator and they build every nook and
Every
cranny of
bit,
every
yeah.
piece of every stencil. And it doesn't allow for, it was the thing I got from a Josh Carlton seminar, actually, he did a Zoom seminar and he was like, telling a lot of these guys, he's like, well, what do your stencils look like? These people that do a lot of cool black and gray and color, like realism, like photorealism, beautiful shit. And they're showing in their stencils, and he's like, take half of that out, allow yourself to be an artist.
yeah,
Give it room to breathe, because then you can decide that you like it breathing, or you can say, you know what, fuck it, let's throw in every little detail. But if you're really an artist, you can art it. You can art your way through it.
Yep.
You know, you're not a photocopier.
dude, my one buddy, I did. I did a cross with some clouds and stuff on his chest. And I was planning on doing the rays. So I did the clouds and the rays all in purple, and I did the cross in gold. So the contrast between those two, the complement was beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And it worked nicely. And I did all the fucking bold whites inside the gold effect, the gold chrome cross that I did. Because you know, gold chrome is the way. I'm glad you finally picked up on that.
I'm focusing so hard to say these are different needle cartridges and I can,
Right?
I'm working with something new right now, so I've been kind of.
Is the needle working well, or is it jumping around in the tube?
I feel like it's just not functioning.
Is it the ones they had in the closet?
Yeah,
Do you want to use some of my piece?
I was gonna say, I got some other brand in here too,
down
in
there,
the box, yeah,
okay.
yeah, what size needle is it?
I think what I need is a 9 round liner and a 7 round liner.
Two that I don't have that here, cause I don't use
I
them.
know, I definitely have a 9 round. I can grab you one real quick.
I got it.
I think I grabbed 9.
14,
Yeah, 11.
I have 3, I have 111. So yeah, let me go grab Dusty needles.
There's a peak box out there. They're all in the same box, but there's definitely 9 rounds, and then I think like tight bags.
Cool.
I should probably get my headlight too. It's on top of my backpack.
Gotcha, Claire.
Thank you so much.
No worries, homie.
You're a fucking rock star.
I know what it's like to have gloves on. You know, I've always had a rule, the guy with the gloves or gal, does the least amount around the shop, because you got fucking gloves on.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't have to answer phones and things, so we got a 7 here.
Oh,
Nope, that's a fucking Maggie. There's a 9 round liner.
9 round liner, and then everything else is tight freezer, man.
Yeah, this is,
on that. That's like a bug thing.
dude, that's like a fucking 06 bug pin, bro.
Whoa,
That's a tiny motherfucker. There's your regular.
It heals out like a single.
Yeah, I imagine so. That's a tiny beach. I think they're all the same brand of that kind, but I can get you another one of those cartridges if you want.
I thought that I had grabbed 7, but I guess I didn't.
A 7, I'll go grab that for you.
Yeah.
Keep the people entertained.
Yeah.
Type 7, yeah, thank you.
No worries.
So let's take a moment to talk about how consent is key.
Yeah, I say that spiel to every single person, every single tattoo, regardless if I've tattooed them 40 times before.
I don't say it with as much authority. You were like, this is my shtick, it's one sentence, we're going. Mine is much more of a like, are you sure? You sure? This
Yeah,
is what's up, tell me if anything's wrong.
I say that
How you
exact
feeling?
phrase.
I say it like a grandma, I'm like, how are you feeling? Did you eat today?
Yeah, I say the exact phrase every single time. I've thought about how to word it properly so that it relays the message that I want. And what I want is for people to walk out the door remembering the phrase, consent always matters.
Consent
Because-
does always matter.
Sometimes, A, sometimes people are assholes, and B, sometimes people don't realize that they are in a vulnerable position.
Oh, it's wild.
And I want to make sure that at least my clients know that even in tattooing, consent matters. I mean, obviously, but it's
In
always
many-
nice to have that.
In many things in life, consent matters. I would say in most things in life. And now I'm racking my brain for like a time when it doesn't. I guess in all things in life. Consent matters, except for falling down manholes. Manholes don't give a fuck about you. Sometimes you just be walking and fall down an open manhole. Do you ever have that problem, Robbie?
What's that?
You're just walking and you just fall down an open manhole.
No.
Okay.
I haven't done that in a while.
The other night when we were at Universal, I tripped real hard. Real hard
You'd be tripping.
over a fucking curve.
Yeah, like a planter curve.
Yeah, it was weird. I wasn't paying attention and just boop. Cut my finger.
Which was wild because it was in Springfield land and you didn't say dough.
Oh.
There's
Real-
a spring.
real- Oh, there's
Yeah, that's Simpsons land.
Universal,
Yeah, it's pretty fucking rad.
Harry Potter land, the ET ride that no one goes on because it's from the 80s, but I love it. We forgot to do that. I'll do
It's
it.
so-
I'll be back.
It's so in the corner. Well, you're going again on
Yeah, it's
Wednesday.
it's built for children in the 1980s, but I love it anyways.
I always loved that ride. It was always like mellow, but it was always a fun ride.
Yeah, it's a nostalgia trip for sure.
And for me, it's nice because I get sick on the rides that are too crazy.
Yeah,
So, yeah, like the Simpsons ride is a hit or miss for me. Sometimes I leave not so comfortable.
You guys get that much. I am a little embarrassed right now because I don't know if that's squeaking.
Squeaking? Or that like crunchy noise?
Yeah, that squeaking noise.
did you put a wrap over your machine before you taped it? It might just be slipping down in there a little bit. That happened for me a lot. If I
Yeah.
use my peak machine.
Alright.
I mean, machines used to make noise all the time.
I know, I'm kind of being quiet and I'm like sweating right now. I am actually like really nervous.
Oh, you're good.
Relax.
I was tattooing her earlier with that Cuban machine. I love that because at my work, everybody's is very like, I'm just over there like, bah!
Like, I love and hate that guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, good on you. Man, I like machines that don't make noise. I just like machines that don't make noise. I'm just, the lack of the noise makes me feel good. What machine is that?
It's a FK Iron Zion. It's still getting that squeaky sound and now I'm kind of a little bit panicky.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, don't stress it.
And I don't think it's giving me the power that I need. So I'm also worried that maybe something has happened to my machine during travel. 'Cause I
Hmm.
haven't used it since I've been in Florida.
Right, right,
And
right.
I'm wondering, it's like, my shit get knocked around too much on the flight.
Do you need a borrow machine? I mean, I think that might just be the needle bobbing around inside there.
Probably that. Yeah, we'll keep going.
Relax there, fella.
Yeah, I can
Relax.
do this, I'm a rock star.
See, and you are. And this is full-on imposter syndrome in action.
Yeah.
And have gratitude for the things that are giving you imposter syndrome. Look, that's a fucking solution. When imposter syndrome shows up, have gratitude for whatever's fucking with you and freaking you out.
I
Or whatever
am
sucks.
grateful that I am here. And to begin with,
Is that put ink in now?
yeah. Ever so gently. No, it's not.
No.
No. You wanna look?
What's going on?
I feel like I'm apprenticing all over again.
Mhm.
No, I'm not kidding.
You just needed someone to look over your shoulder to make it work. Things act different when they're being viewed.
Okay, so I just pulled a longer line.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind,
Mhm.
I'm gonna jump in here and try it right quick
Mhm.
and see. I don't even need a chair.
I'm just gonna lay on camera like this.
I think your nerves are getting to you.
That's very possible, and I already I like warned about this
No, you
the
did.
other week. I said the exact same thing would happen.
What's your speed at on your battery there?
7.
Ah, crank that bitch up. That's why it's not pushing a 9. Give me 8. I'm gonna regret that as soon as you start tattooing on me.
Thinking green is 10.5.
Yep,
Alright, so this is how I test it.
Yes, camera, this is the face I'm making. Know when it's about to get hit.
No one she's about to feel her.
A grown ass handsome man resting on my ass right now.
all right, so just crank it up and.
The two look like you mean it.
Definitely feels a little different when Robbie does it.
Alright, I like trying not to just be like, this is you do.
So run it at the speed and depth you want to run it at, but we can get them bitches in there. I think you're just getting in your head, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Alright.
And I would say.
Thank you for letting me know that it is just in my head, because that's a lot easier to overcome than if my machine's actually having problems.
Everybody's everything is different and
Yeah.
nobody's method works for everybody, but trying to line at a 7 with a battery definitely feels like. Unless you're slow as molasses, you're already kind of setting yourself up to not push a 9.
Right, and I mean, if you want to run that at a 7, I think I could run that at a 7. I just have to slow my hand.
Oh, yeah. Would, but.
Right, I'd hang it out, probably the same that I always hang everything out, and then just run it real slow.
And here's the thing, I'm stoked that it's going well, and I know I'm gonna get an awesome tattoo because she's awesome. Now that you kind of fixed it for her a little bit, it feels a lot more like a tattoo, and that part kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, I knew you felt me more than you felt her.
We get her now, it feels like she's actually putting it in.
She's not afraid
Not
anymore.
heavy-handed, but like, it actually feels like I'm getting my inner fucking thigh tattooed.
When people that know how to like know what getting tattooed feels like when I'm
Yeah.
teaching an apprentice, and like when that always happens every time I pick up the machine and I'm like, yo, you just need to do this, and they're like, oh yeah, now it feels right.
I would way rather get an apprentice tattoo that has a couple little bit blown out lines than get one that half of it's gone 6 months later.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, what do you want? Do you want a tattoo that might be a little smudged and scarred, or do you want a tattoo that might need to be gone back into?
Yeah,
Because those are the two extremes of like poor healing, apprentice tattoos. And we're not talking about apprentice tattoos like you're an apprentice, so.
They
Not at all.
actually, the thing is, I've been thinking about and talking about this for a long time, but like, I really wanna travel a lot more in tattoo. But because I have a lot of insecurities about my own skills, I wanted to like do like mini apprenticeships. Like go visit my friends for a couple of weeks and
iron
like-
sharpens iron. Traveling
Almost-
is how you're gonna learn to be that.
Absolutely.
almost like a working apprentice while I like guest spot and stuff.
Well, I mean, dude, think of it this way. That's what the fuck we are anyway.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Sean King in Indiana made the best joke to me. I was like, how long have I been? Because I knew he was over 20 years. He's like, oh, I'm a 27-year apprentice.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Well, one of the concepts that I try to live by is beginner's mind, because the beginner's mind always is ready to learn something, because when you're at the beginning of it, you're like, ooh, yay, let's learn. Rather than like, nobody says, I want to have the cranky old man's mind when I grow up, like. Nobody really wants to be a miserable fuck about, how much they hate themselves. We just kind of fall into it because we forget that we can actually like give ourselves permission. Like, dude, that was all in your fucking head. Like,
Yeah.
totally. And like, your response was the coolest thing I've heard ever from anyone. Cause you were like, wow, it's really glad that it's in my head, because that's easier to fix than my machine going wrong.
Well, it's also one of those things you said earlier. We all, when being observed, act a little different. It's so easy if nobody was watching and you're just tattooing and the client can't see and you're just in your own world to be like, all right, this isn't quite sticking. I need to crank my power supply up a little bit, or I need to switch needle size.
Right.
But when everyone's on you, you're like, is it that? Do I want to do that in front of them? Are they
Right,
gonna notice?
right.
And it turns so quickly into like the little snowball that turns into the
Yep.
giant,
Snowball of
the giant mountain
dude.
going down the mountain, because you're like, oh God, did someone notice that I'm thinking? It's no longer the spot.
Your tattoo.
You specifically asked me before we started if you thought my tattoos, so that's unrelated.
It feels like when I'm not even watching her, just when I like see her in my
Yeah.
peripheral and feel her energy right now, it feels like you've settled into like, oh, okay, now I'm tattooing and I can try not to panic as much. Like, it feels like there's a little more settling in.
Man, you just feeling my energy all day. Like that shift between my two okays earlier.
Well, dude, I guess I didn't even come in intentionally doing that, but I guess because you said, what you said about yourself in the past, like, my intuition is, oh, let's just help her through these silly moments that we hate when they happen to us. Like, one of my things that I hate about myself, I drink too much when I'm fucking uncomfortable. And sometimes I get too drunk. And I wish I didn't use that as a crutch. So like, when I see somebody going through a situation that like feels similarly fucking shitty, I wanna jump in and help them with like, hey, let's not worry about this. And you're a friend, you know, and like, you've been pretty fucking open about like the fact that you're nervous being around me and Dusty, so like, you
Yeah,
know,
you guys are like badasses.
but so are you,
Okay,
motherfucker.
but are you aware that you're badasses?
You need to fucking accept that right now. You know what? I am fully leaning into learning how to receive, so thank you for that compliment.
Yeah, thank you.
Um,
Take it.
But like, notice how I had to say I'm fully leaning into learning how to receive, because like, I'm learning how to receive, man. It's not something that happens for everyone easily.
I'm learning how to receive, but I don't like receiving compliments that feel comparison based. Like
Yeah.
you're not saying,
Who's better at this than some?
you're not saying, oh, you guys are badasses. You're saying it in the context of like, I'm afraid because I'm not a badass, and that's not
Yeah,
true.
and I lived in that hard for many years.
We are on the same wavelength. You're a total badass, so you know you don't have to say it in the context of like I'm nervous because
Right. And like, dude, I've got social media, I've got eyes, I've seen your work. Like, I knew you were gonna come in here and fucking throw down a slick piece. And I'm actually glad that you got artistic with it. Cause like, it was only the phrase in our heads, in my head at least, you know, so like, at least I didn't kill Selena, that's fucking hilarious. And then you like came up with this whole thing. Then you were mad open when I was like, yo, sneak that at least in there. And like, we all had fun with it. Like, this is a cool experience for me. Just watching like a little homie that fucking slays at Tat Goddessing already. And like, dude, you don't even know like what your words have done for me in the realm of like feeling confident with tattoo educating. Like, I don't know if you saw the posts I made about tattoo education, like I'm starting a program now. Like, you're a big part of like giving me confidence to do that, Medusa.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude, like you telling me that my tattoo experience, that was usually me and Jeremy having some Trulies at 11:30 at night, fucking like talking about tat stuff. Like, if that was that valuable to you, man, fuck, like, I really want to put energy into this, you
Yeah.
know? And then one of the people that I fucking got, she signed up for the program. She like sent me a slew of messages, one, actually a couple saying like, make a certificate for when we're done with the fucking class. So like, you know, we can have something that says we tried hard to like learn more. And I'm like, yo, that's so cool. Thanks for giving me the like, the thought to not be a chump and be
you're
like,
now licensed to be rad.
right, and like I am licensed to tell people, yo, you fucking tried. You know what I'm saying? You're learning some shit. You're investing time and money into like doing this.
Can you call it your work certificate?
Right. Your word certificate. Yeah, that'll be a big thing one time or forever.
Working on my birth certificate.
Right now, I'm working on my word certificate. It's funny you say that because when I was in Miami, I was at like an entrepreneur meetup thing, and like these dudes were talking about like their word for the year, and I was like, well, my word for the year would be worth, because like I know my value, but I don't know my worth. Like I don't feel my worth all the time. And so that's a lot of the things that are coming to me, like the insecurities and the fears of people not liking me, is me stepping into my fucking worth, which is a weird thing to do. Stepping into your worth is hard. Knowing your worth, accepting that you're worth something. Those are all weird things for me.
Yeah.
I've been working on them for years, and luckily I've had enough people tell me that I'm fucking worth a lot. Like so many people for so many years have told me I'm rad, so I'm like, okay, maybe I should listen. And now I'm more like, okay, yeah, I believe you, thank you. And like, there's still a part of me that like gets a little panicked when I say I believe you, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm working on that part, learning how to calm as well.
Instead of punching them in the face.
By saying, yeah, I'm nobody, you're stupid.
I'm just little old me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
I
true.
hate that, 'cause that's my literal sentence. I
Yeah.
said, it's only
Which is true, right? You are just a regular human, like.
my league.
I am, you just being my way. I am just a regular human, but like. It was funny when I told the guy at the smoke shop today when he was like, don't tell me that's a rap. I was like, no, it was a paint job. I was like, I don't mind sharing my magic with you, and I giggled because it was more like my magic trick, like a magician. But then I was like, I am the magical motherfucker. I don't mind sharing my magic with you because I know I'm magical, motherfucker. So like, it was really weird. I had that moment in my head,
Yeah,
but I didn't have a camera in front of me to do that. But like, I kind of did in my head. But like, that was a moment for me to realize, hey man, you kind of are worth something. Like, and it doesn't have to do with your car, and like, you don't mind sharing your magic with people. And like, that was something that you feel like people didn't share their magic with you. So
Yeah.
now you're able to do that for others, and it does something good for you too. Because every time we do something that feels good to help, it feels good because it's helping us too. Like every time anyone,
Not feel good.
no, that does not. I see you,
uh,
and like I feel so bad. Like, dude, you didn't expect a tattoo on camera, did you, Medusa? You expected this all to be done and over with by the time we did this.
Or I expected to do it like afterwards, or just not on camera, no.
So you didn't expect me to just be like, oh yeah, fuck, we just do camera stuff in here when we tap. Really? Have you not seen the ones where I've been tapping in this room?
Yeah,
you
I didn't know. I would be,
You didn't put that in like we watched Inside Out yesterday.
Yeah,
When she went to her first day of school, so fear, list out all the possible ways this could go wrong. Like you didn't have your little
that's
fear.
what I said when you said we're doing it in here during the film, that shot.
Each with the two okays?
Yeah,
Yes.
I answered, okay. That's when I started sweating.
And like, and so that's me just being like, oh, just being little old Miley, me, you know?
trial by fire.
Right.
Camera.
Well, and I'm over here like, oh, no big deal, because I'm no big deal, and it's no big deal, because I'm no big deal. This is no big deal. And you're like, this is a big deal. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah, you got broken into it when you got to like, be on camera competing with a whole bunch of other really good artists. So like,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
dived into the deep end
totally
without
did.
like
I totally did,
any
man.
flippers, so
The
Yeah.
same way that you think on your worst days, at least I didn't kill Selena. Think of it this way, yes,
oh my God.
think of it, yes. I'm tattooing on camera, but the camera can't see the tattoo, meanwhile, it can see. Here's the thing, the most I've ever been tattooed was an 11-hour day, and it was an 11-hour day, like he tatted all day. I don't cry, I don't tap out, I don't throw hissy fits, but I make a face the entire. Like a child that is told he cannot leave the table until he finishes his Brussels sprouts.
It's true. We've
And
seen it a
so,
couple times
while they
here.
cannot see what you're doing, and I'm sure that it's great. They can absolutely see my face. This whole podcast has been this one.
Dude,
That's, I mean, I don't stuff that way, but it's kind of cute. Like, I think. Yeah.
it's funny you say I'm like tantrums and hissy fits and shit like that, because when Donna got her butthole tattooed, we were very fresh into our relationship. And I didn't do it, a friend of mine did it, well, a friend of ours did it. And like, Donna, on this very chair, on this very tat table, she was like, towards the end, was like punching the chair and like evil Satan grunting. And like the tattooer and me and the boyfriend and me were having a hard time together. Cause I was like, you're embarrassing for my friend. Like that's the tattooer inside of me. And the boyfriend inside of me is like, I want to be there for you, but I don't even know how. Cause like, we just kind of started dating a little bit ago, and now you're punching the table and grunting. So like, you're being kind of crazy, dog. I don't know that. So it was really wild. And I'm bad with fucking sympathy.
Yeah.
Even when I had two legs, I was kind of bad with sympathy. Like I'll have sympathy for certain things and then I'll give you all of it. But like regular things, like
Yeah.
getting tattooed, I'm like, keep it together, you fucking asshole.
At the end of the day, you're paying to do it and you chose it. It's
Right.
very sympathetic for someone to be like, I want this.
Right.
Consent is everything, and I full blown consented. So that's why I'm kind of being chill right now, even though I can feel that one in my butthole.
Right.
Whatever spot she just hit, that I
I
just.
love that, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you
That's
know,
why it felt, but I'm trying to be chill, because I'm like, it is what it is, I'm just gonna make this weird face and possibly clench my fist.
I can do it. I can do it.
Hey,
So the child in me, when you said. I don't, and so I'm allowing myself to be childlike right now, so bear with me. But the child in me, when you said you felt it in your butthole, I almost poked you in the belly button and said, now do you feel it in your pee hole too? But I restrained, but like my body almost started putting my finger in your belly button. So
Consent is everything.
consent, I know, see, you guys are teaching me the consent thing, you know?
I give you consent to finger my belly hole.
Okay, cool, thank you. You know, I usually just read the room and know when I can touch my buddy's belly hole, you know, today didn't feel like the time.
Just two guys
Touching belly holes.
touching belly holes.
I've had fucking plenty of homies do body shots out of my belly hole, so, you know.
Are you color packing?
No. We're just starting,
It feels different.
you know, it took me a while to get started.
Oh, that was all the stenciling process, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a real tattoo until this point.
Did you switch needles?
Yeah,
Okay, I was something feels different, but I couldn't peg what.
Don't pay without consent.
Consent is everything.
Consent is everything. So you were gonna say something, Medusa, but I had that silly joke that needed to come out. So,
it needed to.
It needed to.
It did.
like, my body, like, was telling me, like, if you don't get this joke out, you're gonna die. So,
Yeah.
my inner
Well,
child
I'm
needed to
gonna
play.
Dusty, what his word of the year would be.
Ooh, sucker, you know that means you're next.
Yup, I'm prepared this time.
Yup.
I prepared an answer before I asked.
Okay, cool. Word of the year, Dust Man.
Learn,
Ooh.
because the same way that our tat lord is here said what this was the year I even told you about it. I told a few other guys about it, that I was like, look, last year I did a guest spot or a convention at least once a month. A lot of them were 2 a month. But this year I was like, I want to go and I want to do all that, but I also just want to arrange with a lot of people while on them a day where they tattoo and I just watch. And I do want to do a lot more of that, because it is, everybody has a lot of aha moments, and at the same time, you never really have a specific aha moment. That I want to go collect
Your aha
a
moment.
lot of aha moments, like fucking Dolph Lundgren had all those ears on his necklace in Universal Soldier.
Yeah,
Like I want to collect an aha moment from every artist that I admire and build a really vast toolbox of ideas. So when I'm on camera and the needle starts acting jittery and I'm freaking out, I can be like, all right, here's 32 other plays and my playbook to pull from.
Dig it.
So I'm gonna do some more learning this year.
I dig it, I dig it.
Learn or grow, either way.
Well, you'll get to experience something fun for me tomorrow that I've been embarrassed about since I did it. Did a poppy flower on a guy and I warped it in Procreate,
Yeah.
and it kind of made it look vaginal.
Okay.
And I really love this man. I felt really bad about it. So
Did you notice?
my apprentice at the time came in and said, that looks like a flower, that looks like a vagina. So I was like, wow,
Thanks.
man,
Thanks, buddy.
that would have been helpful in the back room there, dickhead.
Yeah.
You know,
As
So-
a person that has a tattoo of a monster vagina, I don't know what the problem is.
right. He didn't come and ask me for that. And I felt really stupid. A couple other people said something better on the internet and like, I felt bad. So I reached out to him a little bit ago and I was like, hey man, let's reschedule a free session. Which I never, ever do. But I felt really bad about it. And like I said, I love this man. He has taught me so much. Like every time I tattooed this motherfucker in the past, I learned so much from our interactions together that like, I just like being around it.
So
So
are
like,
you doing something with the pop?
yes,
Okay.
yes. I'm gonna like,
Evaginize it.
yeah, basically, you know, I mean, we all know it's there. So like, let's talk about it and let's fucking work around
There's a deflowering joke that's not
Oh.
formulated in my head.
it. I know you have a couple of segments tomorrow, but that would be a fun time.
It's a friggin'
And I think even if you don't get to watch me from fucking start to finish, I think it'll be cool to see what he comes in with and see what he leaves with.
Yeah.
Because like, that's I'm scared. Like, I do amazing cover-ups, and I'm not fucking being like, I do amazing cover-ups, but I've fucking seen my cover-ups, they work. So like, I'm gonna do that,
Jumped through a different spot and it made me do stink face for a minute.
but like, I think,
I tried to rub it to warn you.
I think I have to tell myself that I'm gonna do a great job because like, I'm afraid that I won't, but I know that I will. Because like, one of the things I talk about, look at your past. If you got a good history of doing shit good with cover-ups, then you're all right. I got a good history with it, so I know I'm gonna be all right. And it's kind of good to talk it out. And I'm like, if we're being fucking, if we're gonna talk about vulnerability and not liking it, I don't like talking about this tattoo. Medusa, like I fucking hate talking about this tattoo. This is like embarrassing shit for me. Cause like, I'm better than that. Than to make a mistake like that permanently on somebody, especially somebody that I love and fucking respect so deeply.
No, nobody's above making mistakes once in a blue moon.
Absolutely, but like that's how my
But that's how your body feels about it.
right. So like I'm excited to get back into it. And like it's almost been 2 years. And I finally just hit him up and I was like, yeah, let's do this, man. And he was 100% for it. So I'm excited about the time I get to spend with him because I love him so much. But I'm also excited that I get to give him what like he deserves. And like I know he's been a good man about it and not like throwing it up in my face, but like he could have gone somewhere else and got it fucking redone. And like he just kept it there and didn't say nothing to me about it and waited for me to do it. And that's like, that's a lesson right there in patience that like, that's wild, right? Just wait for the thing to come and the thing comes,
Yeah,
you know, rather than stressing about the thing not being there.
I think it's funny because what's been formulating in my head for a few seconds now is that, you know, you're saying like a very like everybody makes mistakes, we're all human, we're all whatever, nothing, and then you're like, but I made a mistake and I really hate feeling that way about it. It's funny because I've heard you say, you know, the whole we all fall, we just get back up again kind of thing multiple times.
Yeah.
And then the other night you literally fell down and were like real bummed about it for a minute. And you got back up again, but you were like fall down, like what the fuck.
Yeah,
Brittany said, are you guys still doing the live? I need to ask Robbie something, but I don't want to interrupt.
actually, we're late,
I was
aren't
gonna say, it's almost 6:30.
we? Okay, guys, gals, humans, non-humans, non-binaries, all of the like, love you all. Thank you all for being here. We didn't do the thank yous at the beginning because it's been a weird thing today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guy. Thank you, Gabe.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Strategy by.
Ooh, oh, hey. So you kind of got out of that one pretty good.
That's why they're coming, you can do this, we're splashing my way away.
Were you trying to squish her head?
It is.
All right, I gotta go and fucking do stuff. Love you guys, appreciate y'all. Medusa, thank you for fucking like working through some of your shit on camera, which is awesome. No, you didn't expect this today, but you're welcome.
Thanks.
Dusty, always love you, buddy. All right, see you guys later next week.